What's happening, family? You already know what it is. RBG DNA with Mr. Measy. This is Maatic, Solutionology 101. With, of course, Mr. Measy, moderated by your brother Chunker Minnie. You dig? Today we're going to talk about the rise, this MGTOW thing. It's first off, brother, how you doing? My bad.
No, it's all right, man. Look, man, I appreciate, man, all of this, man. I love what you're doing. Love how you're setting this up, man. Glad that you invited me on, and I'm glad to be able to come and contribute whatever I can towards the healing of our people. And so thank you once again, brother.
Right on. And, man, this is going to be a conversation, man. I know you got several lectures and several, clips where you've dealt with feminism and womanism and a relationship and how it deals with our community with the
yeah, I got a few.
Right on.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah, you can dissect that thing, and the way the thing about it, when you do it, it's objective. It ain't out of no spite or hate.
Well, one of the things I'll say, and let's just touch on this, because this might be the first time somebody might have heard me, but, any black woman who identifies as a feminist is a confused person. I can say that because no one who worships their oppressor is mentally sane, and no one who's mentally sane worships their oppressor. And if you don't understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything you know or think you know, understand, or misunderstand will only confuse you. So with that in mind, when I say that, the black women who are feminists get automatically offended. They can't hear beyond their hurt or listen past their pain. And then they start going on some diatribe, and they just tune out everything else. And as far as they're concerned, that means they won the argument. But whether they win or lose an argument that don't exist, they are still going to have to deal with the effects of making that choice. And our community is suffering from the ignorance associated and the foolishness associated with that choice of identifying as a feminist.
Indeed. And that's a perfect segue into the conversation about the MGTOW movement.
Wait, hold on. What is a MGTOW, brother?
Well, actually, a MGTOW is a movement of men who have taken the red pill and have decided to take somewhat of an unorthodox stance against what you just said, the evils and the ignorance of feminism. MGTOW is an acronym short for men going their own way.
Well, hold on now. Is that some like new age labeling for justifying homosexuality or something like that?
No. I know men going their own way. It kind of gives that connotation, but now these guys, a lot of my brothers.
These are black men talking. These are black men.
Well, the MGTOW movement, from my research and what I heard, was initially started by brothers who were dealing with child support issues and other issues associated with women. But, of course, that movement wasn't initially meant to be race first movement. So a lot of white guys jumped into it. And, of course,
so it was not initially constructed as a race first movement. It was or it wasn't?
It was.
It wasn't. Okay.
It was like a means thing. It was like a means answer response to
it sounds rather reactionary. I mean, based on how you explain it, I haven't researched it, but it sounds rather reactionary. And anytime you talking about, but you tell me more about it before I make my comment on it. That would be wise. That would be wise of me. It would be wise of me to listen to what you have to say than to automatically make an assertion or an assumption based on what you said, the limited amount that you said so far. So let me hear you tell me more about this MGTOW movement. It sounds like masculine madness. But go ahead.
Right. And some of the brothers do follow our work, and they might, so because none of them are here, I do want to give them a little justice, and kind of.
Well, let me say pseudo-masculine madness. So that way they won't be pissed at you. They can be pissed at me. Go ahead, though.
Words, no words, no sweat. But yeah, it started off so it started off as brothers dealing with women issues, and they said they took an unorthodox stance. Then a lot of white guys jumped into it. And basically the whole premise of it, and of course you got, with any type of movement, you got different factions of it. Like, matter of fact, a lot of brothers have broken out from MGTOW and started a thing called Earmore, which is introspective black men reform, because the white boys got into it and kind of brought their racism into it like they do with every other thing. But basically the other movement is because we are living in an increasingly feminist, excuse my language, pussy pandering society.
Mm-hmm.
That because women are being used as pawns of capitalist oligarchs to oppress men and to hold men down and to keep men from reaching their full potential with things such as child support, alimony, and of course the constant berating of men, so terms such as toxic masculinity, ending the patriarchy, the concept of rape culture, and slut shaming and street harassment, because the society is increasingly criminalizing the heterosexual male.
Mm-hmm.
The whole premise is best to advise men, especially young men, don't deal with these women out just. If you're going to sleep with them, sleep with them. Don't fall in love with them. Don't trust them, because they have to get you. And if you do, if you do happen to have a child, if you do happen to get a woman, she needs to be 100% submissive. If not, if you do want to have a child, best get a surrogate mother and raise a child yourself. So that's like in a nut. Obviously, I'm not MGTOW, but that's what that is in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
So you can. So
well, let me say first of all, I'm going to comment, but I'm commenting based on limited information. Okay, so I'm only going off of what you say, or I'm going. Everything that I'm saying is based on what you said. Okay, my commentary is based on that. So I'm operating out of some level of ignorance. But I will say this: black men, whether we're in America or any other place, but especially dealing in a system of global white supremacy, in the belly of the beast in the United States of America, United Snakes of America, of America, at that. We, as black people, are not going to advance anywhere without one another. The male has nowhere he can go permanently without the black woman, and the black woman have nowhere she can go permanently without the black male. All right. Now, ain't nowhere around that. Now, Dr. Clark said that the only permanent place for a black woman in white man's world is that of a concubine. That's the only permanent position that she has. And even that position is tenuous because, of course, there are other women that can replace her or that can push her, marginalize her role even further. That's the only permanent space. So, and as far as black men, as you know, there's no such thing as truly a black man on the system of global white supremacy. Black men are the white man's bottom bitch. We fight his wars. We're the ultimate consumer. We spend our money with him. And he's raising our children when you deal with welfare and food stamps and the like. All right, we're underemployed and have not shown the wherewithal to employ ourselves. Do we abandon our families? Yes, we do abandon our families. Why do we abandon our families? Because of the lack of equity or the appropriate equity between gender relations, especially since post-integration. Post-integration have had a tremendous effect on our relationships with black men's and black women's relationships. Okay? Now, black women tend to focus on the part that deals with abuse, where you have marginalized black males, where you have overgrown boys and underdeveloped males substituting and acting as men in the system of global white supremacy, where in fact there's only one man, the man, which is white men. So black men can be uncle, but we can't be the man. We can be boy, but we can't be the man. And we got a lot of black men being, feminized as a result of that. And just because you're feminized don't mean you're gay. It just has to do with you have the subordinate status in the male hierarchy system. And the white man in this system is the man. If you don't have a standing military, you can't overcome him. And if you ain't printing your own money, you can't overcome him. And so it's his time to rule, and he's been abusing that rule. I hope that what I'm saying is resonating with the audience that's going to be listening, because we don't got nowhere we can go without black women. And black women don't have nowhere they can go, not permanently, without black men. So we don't got no choice but to deal with each other. And whether we dealing with each other the way we should or shouldn't, we've got to deal with each other. And it just shows you the danger of allowing your children being educated by your oppressor, be educated by your enemy, because then you'll be educated against your own self. I'll close on this quote. Marcus Garvey said, having had the wrong education, the black man has become his own worst enemy. When I put that slide up and doing my presentation, the older black people tend to focus on us being our own worst enemy. I make a point to refocus them on what type of education makes black people become our own worst enemy. All right. And when I go in that direction, it sets their old asses up, okay? Because they got that old, deep-rooted black self-hate. And so when I challenge it, it makes them have to do something they haven't done in a long time, which is think. And the young people, I can get them, but the older people, it forces them to think. I'm going to let you speak, but that's my feeling as it relates to that. We need to be attacking the system of global white supremacy, not attacking black women. Are they tools and are they pawns? Yes. If you're getting married to a black woman, should you get a woman that's submissive? Yeah, of course. At some point, she should be submissive. Otherwise, she's not going to stay with you. Or there's a likelihood she's not going to stay with you. Because when you assert yourself and she assert herself, it's going to cause problems. And you're not in a culture that promotes and supports marriage. So when y'all start having friction, you don't have enough other people saying, baby, he's just a man and he mean well, and y'all need to go get back together. And you don't have on the other side saying, man, you're dealing with a woman, not a girl. And, you should expect her to have a mind. You don't want no dumb woman, to be raising your children, right? So if she expresses herself, you just got to know what that is and not be tripping on her. If you don't have that type of dynamic going on around your marriage, then, when you have friction, either somebody's going to put a little water on it so y'all can heal, or they're going to put some gasoline on it and turn it to a fire. And we got more folks turning in the fire than they do, calming it down so y'all can stay together for the sake of yourself and the children. So, the things that they're saying have a lot of merit to them, but their conclusions are really jacked up. They should be attacking the system of global white supremacy, attacking the inequities in the child support system, not going after black women and women. That's a form of that's genocidal and suicidal to some degree. But go ahead.
Right. You definitely did that. And I was just sitting here thinking, man, you definitely explained that, marvelously. You got a lot of brothers who are with it, who are fair-minded, but some of these brothers, I hate to say it, just like with a lot of the sisters who end up in the feminists, they're internalizing some personal trauma. Like, this is one brother. I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to.
I appreciate that. Please don't. Just describe the situation.
Right. The brother. It ain't funny, but it you know how you see some stuff that just don't make no sense. That you can't even get mad. It's just kind of, you know what I'm saying? It's like, how would you put it? Like, dude put a picture of a black woman with 2 children. Black single mother. And, man, dude put a caption on that joint that said, "This is not a single mother. This is a tapeworm. This is a parasite who has lived off and sucked the black community dry for years."
Okay, yeah.
I see it.
But you see, that's foolishness. Even if it's true, that's still foolishness, right? Because when you start attacking your woman in public, that's an indication of a problem with you as a man. Okay, so you're telling on yourself. You see where I'm going with that?
Right.
You highlight your own inefficacy as a man when you start outing your woman for the bullshit that she doing. You telling on you. That means you don't know how to control your woman. And Elijah Muhammad tells you that the first rule of war is to control your woman. Okay? Now, I didn't understand what the hell that meant till I read Sun Tzu's Art of War. And then I started grasping what Elijah Muhammad was pointing at. Okay? Because if you don't got your home situation secure, then your enemy is going to exploit that. You're going to be fighting outside and inside. There ain't no way you can win that fight. Ain't no way you can win that fight. Now, in Sparta, they separated the men from the women. I don't agree with that, but I don't agree with how they did it. They were controlling their woman, and they made it hard for their enemies to overcome that. In Vietnam, they had control of their woman, because their woman wasn't fighting against them. All right, they had some other Vietnamese, the Viet Cong on one side and other Vietnamese on the other side that were being used against one another, but by the foreign entities. But nonetheless, they had their women under control, and that's how they were able to win the war. Because the women were extremely supportive of their war effort, and that's how they was able to hold on and be victorious. I'm saying that I can go down a line of people who were successful in war. Their women was on board. The women were on board. In America, they put the women into the armed forces, into the support system, and as a result of mobilizing the women and putting them in the labor force, America was able to pump out them machines, pump out them tanks, pump out them planes, in order to be successful in the war effort. I mean, even Britain was able to fight back and resist the German onslaught as a result of having control of their woman. I can go down the line with this thing, and it ain't going to, feminists don't want to hear that. Feminists don't want to hear that. Control the woman. What you mean control? You get that. See, you get that foolishness. You get that foolishness. You can't talk sound strategy with somebody that's not prepared to listen.
Exactly.
Okay. The woman is just as much a warrior as the man, but you can't expect them to have the same roles in the war. The eggs are more valuable than the sperm. The reason why you fight in the war is to protect the women and the children. That's the purpose of the men fighting. But the women can't grasp that. And so they'll put themselves out there and compromise the whole nation without knowing that they're doing it, because they're operating off of emotion and ignorance. Now, you got men that fall into that too. The black man has been effeminized because he's not allowed to be a man. So in the system of global white supremacy. So as a result of that, you have more emasculated men. All right, you have more effeminized men, and you have more masculinized women. And that's how the system is set up. It's designed to keep it off balance, because that way they can rule easier, because you never have stability at home. I mean, black men are not being locked up to the degree we are on accident. We're not being underemployed on accident to the degree that we are. It's not just lazy black men. Are there some lazy black men? Of course there's lazy black men. Are there criminal elements in the black community? Of course there's criminal elements and lazy folks in every community, amongst every group of people. But we get, highlighted and singled out and showcased in a way that other people don't. The first six spots on the news program are going to have something dealing with us, and it's going to be something negative. Okay, even if we represent the smaller percentage of what's going on, they're going to show us in a bad way. The magazines are going to show us as ugly and less than and bestial. That's what they're going to do. They're going to highlight us in that negative way. They've always done that because it helps them maintain their system. Mm-hmm. And every maladjustment has a political and economic reality related to it. That's Amos Wilson's stuff, not mine. So it serves the system. Every maladjustment in the black psyche serves the system of maintaining white supremacy. So, if we really understood what done happened to us and what is happening to us, we wouldn't spend a lot of time blaming each other for what's going on. We would put the blame where it squarely belongs, to the people who maintain and set up this global system of white supremacy. We've got to deal with Asa Hilliard and talking about Robert Williams' game theory. And you learn who the players are and what levels they operate on, and then you start getting a greater appreciation for what we're actually in and what we're dealing with. And you'll understand why any black woman who identifies as a feminist is a confused person.
Right on.
Yeah, but that reaction, that MGTOW reaction ain't the answer to that. You need to be teaming up with your woman, fighting against the system, because she ain't winning. The system ain't helping her win. It ain't like it been easy for black women. It ain't like it been easy for black women. Black women have not had it easy, and they don't have it easy now. True. Okay, they've been catching hell a long-ass time. They've been carrying the race, doing stuff that they didn't want to do and shouldn't have no business doing to protect us as black men, even though they do work in cahoots to keep us in the position of a boy. But that's just because she want to keep us alive. I mean, it ain't like she got a lot of other good options. And I don't see a lot of black people sign up to go be part of the Nation of Islam with their definitions of manhood and womanhood. By the same token, the black leadership and the institutions that are controlled by black people have yet to produce consistent definitions of manhood. And if you don't have consistent definitions of manhood, then you can't consistently raise healthy families, and therefore you can't maintain healthy communities. I already got lectures on that, but nonetheless, my lecture ain't going to solve the problem. We have to adopt certain principles in our institutions to solve our problems.
True. But just to wrap it up, you gave the solution. What brothers and sisters need to be doing. But what would you say to a brother who subscribes to that MGTOW? He say, man, look, these women, most of them are feminists. If they ain't feminists, they either whores or they bulldaggers. How can I build with that? How can I link up and fight against something with that? It's better off to get with like-minded brothers, build a power machine, not the white supremacy out the way, and then automatically they'll make the women get in line. What you think? How would you respond to a brother with that premise?
Well, first I would say I need to do more research on this MGTOW thing. That's first.
Okay.
But in general, our situation is horrible. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. We've lost our minds, and we're not typically in institutional formats that promote an African-centered perspective or Pan-African orientation. So without having an African-centered perspective being promoted and inculcated and invested in and encouraged, then it's very difficult to change what we have. Without having a Pan-African orientation, it limits our perspective to the United States, and so that's all we can see, and we can't see what came before it and what's going on around it and outside of it. So, which decreases our ability to see ourselves in terms of black excellence, black divinity, and accepting divine personal responsibility. So that being said, it's not going to get a lot better too much sooner. However, once we begin to deal with our Ma'at in the mirror, once we begin to adopt a more African-centered perspective, we take on a Pan-African orientation, and we, deal with institutions that's going to help promote that. When we get consistent definitions of manhood, and we operate by them, especially from an institutional perspective, then we can start healing. But absent of that, then, this lone wolf stuff is just not going to work. Because your woman, if she's wrapped up in emotions and she's not African-centered or have a Pan-African orientation, she's just going to be angry and upset with the world, and she's just going to take it out on you. That's what she's going to do. And it's set up for her to do that. But don't think that just because she's doing that to you and you catching it, that ain't because it's better for her. It ain't better for her. It's jacked up for her, too. It's always been jacked up for her. I mean, it's been just as jacked up for her as it is for us. So don't get mad at her for having a little bit more mobility now. Just look at look at Fannie Lou Hamer's situation. Tell me what about that was good. Tell me what was good about Rosa Parks' situation. Tell me what was good about that. I mean, you're going to have a hard time. If you go back in them times and see how the women was being treated, you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want to trade places with them. I wouldn't want to trade places with them. I wouldn't want to come back as a woman. I wouldn't want to come into this world as a woman. I wouldn't want that. I would not want that, especially in a world dominated by men with patriarchy. And I'm saying that with all the hell black men catch. Okay, in this culture and in society, I wouldn't want to come back as no woman. Have you ever seen a woman crackhead versus a man crackhead? You wouldn't want to be that. You talking about what's going on with men in jail? Have you seen what happened with women in jail?
I've heard.
Ain't nothing nice about that. Ain't nothing nice about that. Shit. We need each other. We need each other. There ain't no way around that. I'm saying that while I'm arguing with the black feminists. I'm saying that while I'm what they say, I only debate my equals, all others I teach. So while I'm teaching a black feminist, and if she's capable, then we can have a debate. But most of the time that don't occur. So while we disagree, while we have points of variance, we need each other. We don't have no way around that, man. We have no way around that. So that I will come with that, And there's other women out here. You want to reduce your child support payment, have some more babies. Because the more babies you got to take care of, the less you got to pay that one woman that's giving you problems.
Sound like you being proactive and not reactive, G.
Yeah, right. We need more black babies anyway. Most of the people that's having the babies ain't married. Most of the people having the babies is not taking care of their children. And the ones who got the financial wherewithal to take care of children have less babies than the ones who don't. So if it wasn't for so-called illegitimate children, the black community would lose about 70% of the children. You think that we can afford to have 70% less black people walking around here in America? You think about that. But that's too much because most people are just reacting. They ain't really thinking. They just reacting. It's pitiful.
Right on. But you definitely gave a great talk on that, brother. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, if any of you brothers from the MGTOW, IB if you want to have a conversation, we all family. But at the end of the day, we about nation building. So link up so we can really resolve this thing without all the added hate and vitriol amongst each other. And if any black feminists listen to it, we invite you on. RBG DNA. You hit us up at the Gmail, rbgdna@gmail.com. And before
we invite our feminists, please do. I just got to ask that they do some reading.
Yeah.
You know, read up on the history and the origins of feminism before we even have the conversation. Otherwise, you're going to be hurt and offended, and you're going to think I'm talking about you as an individual.
Hey, that's going to be another video, bro, because I'm going to tell you because, you know, you have this new thought of this, you know, this new current in, quote-unquote, black feminism that's, you know, that say, hey, we ain't got nothing to do with Gloria Steinem and all them. We black. Y'all just mad because, you know what I'm saying, we calling y'all mean to tell, but that's a...
I call it the lesbian world order. So, you know, and all of it ain't bad, but most of it ain't good. So, so we got to deal with that, you know, and it's helpful to discuss it, but we should discuss it based on reading, research, and study, not just our emotions. And there's no solution in the black community that makes sense that don't have input from our sisters. And there's no solution in the black community that makes sense that don't have input from the brothers. We both have to have input in order for the solution to make sense. And so, you know, that's what I'll say with that.
Right on.
But everybody ain't qualified to speak on every subject. So that's the other side of it too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Got to keep a Maatic balance all the way around.
Indeed. Well, you got any final comments or thoughts for the family?
Hey, once again, brother, there is no valid substitute for reading, research, and study. We must know thyself to love thyself to save ourselves. One life, one love, one enemy. One God, one aim, one destiny. MGTOW, may we prove worthy of abundant prosperity and continue to be a blessing to others, especially those in need.